right, welcome back, Sports Talker Nation. Once again, it's your host, the G-Man, as we conclude our 2016 team-by-team review of the NFL Draft. Today, we're going to talk about those New England Patriots. I am the first to admit I'm an unabashed Patriot fan. I love their coach, I love their organization, and I love their quarterback. I also have a lot of friends in the New England area. A lot of people from Philadelphia hate New England, I guess because they were good enough to beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl when it was the Eagles' fault they lost that Super Bowl. I don't know how you hold it against a team that has all the hardware in the world, and people want to hammer Tom Brady in this Deflategate bullshit. Tom Brady has more rings than he does fingers. The guy is phenomenal. He wins, and he's built like you and me. He's unbelievable, and he's married to Giselle. But I digress. The Patriots are usually all over, moving in, out, and around in the first round, second round. They're very active. This year, however, they were hamstrung by that Deflategate. They sacrificed their first-round pick, which was an absolute joke. It's like being sent to jail for 5 years for jaywalking. Everybody does this little piddly shit. Yeah, I'm sure they probably did do it. I think the NFL was pissed off that they kept denying it, so they tried to make an example. But it's not going to work. The Patriots are still going to win 12, 13 games this year and go right back and deep into the playoffs. But they didn't have a first-round pick, and the NFL actually made it very cumbersome for them. Even if they would have been able to trade up into the first round, some of their other picks, they would have sacrificed that first-round pick, my understanding is, of how it worked out. So they didn't. They just stayed put. They didn't move into the first round, no first-round pick. The second round, they take Cyrus Jones. I don't necessarily love Cyrus Jones, but I get it. He's the type of player that New England takes and shapes into their mold and makes a productive player. He's going to be probably their nickel corner right to start. Logan Ryan's there. They have a bunch of good defensive backs now. It's funny. A couple of years ago, it was a major downfall. Now it's an actual positive. But I do think Cyrus Jones has a chance to play there. Joe Thuney is a guard. Didn't stand out on anything that I ever saw. Certainly wasn't the worst thing. He was a 2.5-year starter, so Thuney will do a good job. I do love Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. Started his career at Florida, where quarterbacks' careers go to die. Moved out to NC State, and I watched this kid do everything. He ran when he had to, and he ran with authority. He was strong. He runs like Cam Newton. He is smart. He didn't roll out to run. He rolled out to throw. He ran when there was no other options because his options on his offense sucked. He threw the ball incredibly well. He ran a real offense. They were often in close games, and he really did a great job. I like Brissett. I think he's going to be a starter in the NFL. I think he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo. I think long-term, he's probably Brady's replacement unless they wind up early in the first round and they can get somebody else. But I think that's also a long way away. So to sit for 3 years behind the greatest of all time or the second greatest of all time, depending upon how you view Montana, it's not a terrible thing. Vincent Valentine's their third-round pick. Like, don't love, big defensive tackle, certainly has the ability to plug and play in their system. I think for most teams he wouldn't be a great fit, but I think for the Patriots he might make a lot of sense. Malcolm Mitchell is a guy that I actually didn't rank among my receivers, and that might honestly have just been a miss by me because I did like what he did. He wasn't a game breaker, but he was big, smart, savvy. He also had maybe the greatest story of the draft in the fact that he got to Georgia and realized himself that he was reading at an 8th grade level. Let's not discuss how Georgia gave him a scholarship despite the fact he was reading at an 8th grade level. He turned it around, became such a voracious reader that he actually is now a published author of a children's book trying to help kids learn how to read. Now, I apologize for dropping a little of human interest stuff, which I generally hate, into the story, but it's a great story. And I think it shows how hard a worker the kid will be. Hopefully he turns the same in for football and becomes a player. 6th round, bunch of guys you and I have never heard of. Camus Grugier-Hill, Elandon Roberts, and Ted Karras. The only reason we know of him is his father, Alex Karras, or grandfather Alex Karras was a player, and he follows in that long line of Karrases in the NFL. Lastly, Devin Lucien at wide receiver. They do need some receiver help. At this point, they're just throwing as many darts as they can at varied positions. I also think they always have an undrafted free agent or two that winds up making their team because their organization is that damn good. So despite me not loving their picks, I'm going to give them a B- because I frankly can't give them any lower than that because of the Patriots, and they are the organization that all other organizations should emulate in the NFL. Let's see if Brissett becomes a superstar or even a starter at quarterback. This draft goes all the way up to an A. But with that, this is the final of the 2016 team-by-team reviews of the NFL Draft on the New England Patriots. I am your host, the G-Man, and I am out.